Alright, so I got the Craftsman off the trailer and kind of giving it a quick look over / assessment and try to figure out why it got parked in the backyard, other than just being generally ratty. But that's usually not what they get put away for. Usually something dies. And I'm looking at this one. I went to go figure, maybe go put power to the starter and crank the motor over to see how it sounded. And when I went to go look at the post for the starter, there is none. So it baked out that part of it, and it's probably the last time they got to go use it. And there is no wire going from the starter solenoid down to that starter also. So either they stole the part, or that starter just burned up, and that was the end of it. So I went looking back in my hoard, and I have a single cylinder Kohler out back. It looks like it's the similar starter. So I figure we're gonna go see if we can buzz this guy off of here. Actually, my dipstick's attached to that too. I might clear it. I'm going the right way. Yep, have to get a ratchet out. And we'll go pop that off, make sure it's the same starter. We'll go steal the one off the motor in the back that's blown up, and see if this thing will chug over. Alright, back in tractor hoard. This is the Craftsman back here, and it's had a was this a 17 horse single cylinder Kohler. You can see the starter that's on that one. I'm just trying to eyeball it up. It kind of looks like it's the same deal, minus the fact that that one's got a stud on it. Don't know if it's any good or not, but I figure we'll go unbolt that, and we'll bring that one up to the front and hook power to it and see if it decides to cooperate. Now, before we go through the trouble of installing it, might as well make sure it does something, shall we? So I'm gonna set jumper cables hooked to it, see if she that should be fine, as long as it fits in the tractor. Alright, so I will readily admit I forgot where I left off, because it's a couple of days later, and I started doing some other stuff other than working on this tractor. So it's going to do a little recap, I guess. The last thing was we went and grabbed the starter off the tractor motor that was out back, and spun out of the bench, and it was working. I believe that's where I left off. I was going to go bolt that starter in, but when I took it out of there, it was packed with, you can see, acorns and debris, and up inside it's all kind of full of crap. So I think I'm going to take a few minutes and pull the top fan shroud off and eliminate it from critters anyway, because I need that stuff gone if I want to spin it without it kind of hamburger and everything up inside there. So that's what I'm going to go do now, and I'll turn you back on when we see that carnage of critters that's made its nest. Alright, I think I'm in. See if we're going to serve an eviction notice or not. Oh. Yeah, that would cause a slight overheating problem, huh? I don't see anybody home. That's a good sign. I don't know how well those wires are going to be underneath. In between there, though, they have a tendency to like to chomp on them guys. Alright, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go let this thing back down on the ground, pull it outside, and hit it with the air gun, and do some mouse shit eviction. And then we'll bring it back in, and then we'll continue on and put the starter in it. Alright, so I brought that outside and got all the crap out of it. And the wires don't look terrible. See a little bit of chomping on that guy right there. That's not too bad. And this one, that one actually looks better. It was probably protected from all the crap that was in it. And these guys don't look too bad. So I got the starter is bolted back in, and I got a jumper pack hooked to the hot lead of the starter, and grounded. I figure we'll just go and flip our switch and see what we get, and see if the motor kind of spins over. Sounds good, a little chirpy. There's our chirpy. The magnetos are just rubbing on some rust on the magnet. Hit that with a wire wheel. Probably just wear itself off, spins a little bit. So I think our next avenue will be to pull a plug, or put a plug on the end of this. And actually, I gotta pull. I don't have a key a key for this. I gotta go look and see if I have a key for this, or change out the whole ignition. And what it does is it grounds out the coils through these leads. So if we pull these guys off, spark should come back. You just won't be able to shut it off if it gets running. Let's see if we got a plug in. Shovel plug in and see what we get. We'll do this uncut and one-handed. The left-handed, one-handed, no less. Alright. So it should spark for us on the, at least on this cylinder. So that's good. It does have spark, so I think the next step will be to probably dribble a little bit of fuel into the throat, and I got to pull the one off of this side. What do you think? Am I making you dizzy? Sorry. You know, or I could just switch hands. Man, is that sucker in there? And hold you in the left hand and do it this way. Another thing we should kind of check first. Actually looks pretty good. So let's go and give ourselves a little dabble. And take and let it piss all over the motor. Well, there. That's a nice sound, isn't it? Anyway, clunking and rattling. So I think, what should I do next? Float bowl or ignition switch, one of the two I'm going to go jump on. I'm probably going to go pull the float off of it. We'll look inside the carb and see what we have for a fuel supply, kind of go into it and condition thereof. Alright, so I cracked this loose. Let's go see what's behind door number 1. So we can get that sucker to point straight down. There we go. That's a fuel shut off, so when you turn the key off, it has a plunger on the end of it that blocks the port where the fuel gets drawn up through. That one actually shuts the jet off itself. Come on, be clean. Ooh, not bad at all. A little bit of crud, but I have seen tons worse. That's a good sign. I think the seal might have went to crap though. That's good. Oh, the fuel tank in this is Scrapolite. The other thing I like, Cap 123 mailed me these cameras. Other than the fact that they're HD and they're smaller, the Sonys that I was using before, you could only use them in your right hand or set up for a right-handed person. So this, I have it on a little stand, kind of switch back and forth. And it looks pretty dry, other than one drunk caterpillar. Is that like the worm in the tequila? So maybe we'll run off a separate can or something that's known fuel before we try dumping fuel in there. Alright, so I'm gonna go button that, I'm gonna blow that carb out real quick. Doesn't look too bad. We'll just button that back up and probably pop the fuel line off, and we'll set a fuel can up here somewhere to run off of. And then we go see what we got for an ignition switch. See if I have anything with a key that's got that same setup, and see if it'll crank and run and do all that stuff from there. I see some boogering. Somebody's been there. Somebody's been there. So who knows what we're gonna find. More than likely those are safeties that were bypassed at some point. And I still don't have a wire. I gotta run a wire also down to the starter. Alright, let me get this done. All right, I need one of those. It looks like that hole's kind of boogered up. And let's see. So before I go start looking at the tractor outside, I had a couple of parts machines. I also got a bunch of junk over here that I take off of stuff. A couple there. Those all metal body ones. Oh, wait a minute. Can't see, can you? What's that? It looks like it. Even got a key in it. Let's go see if it's close to what we need. That kind of looks like that. It's just that one says stop and that one's got a line through it. So let's go pop that out of there. I'll pop the other one in and we'll see what happens, shall we? And we got some wires. I went to the Horde and stole some stuff. And of course, black is positive, red is negative. Remember that. Just the way it worked out. So I got the ignition switch in there. I have no idea if any seat safeties work or not work. So we're just going to go turn the key. Heard a click. That's good. That's the solenoid going turn it on and off in the carburetor. Nothing. Alright, so I'm going to go get a test light. And I am suspecting probably that this relay, judging by all the rust and everything on it, is a piece of crap. But again, I'm going to get my test light on and see what I got working and what I don't got working. And see if we can zero in on that. Or maybe I should just hop up on the seat, hit the brake lever. Let's go do that. Hit the brake lever. And the sit on the seat. Throw that in anywhere. No, still nothing. So, all right. Let's turn the. Don't hear the clutch turning on and off for the PTO either. So let's go do some investigation. Alright, so I did just that. I put a test light up to it and kind of did some probing around. And these two guys right here go to the starter solenoid. Power comes from the battery, and there's a solenoid inside here, and then the power continues down to the starter. And well, it needs two things for that to work. One side of that coil that's in there needs a ground, and the other side needs a hot lead. So the ground is there all the time, which is the black, and then the white is supposed to get power down it to go and turn when you turn the key on. Nothing's happening. So I started following that back. That goes up to here. Take my word for it, it goes around over to the mower deck switch, the on-off switch for the mower deck. And you see the one on the left-hand side, this guy right here with the yellow and the butchered whatever together. That's the wire that I just showed you. It's the other end of that. So I started probing around, so I can prop you up so you can see it. Are you in? Are you in? Alright. So this white wire right here is coming from the key switch, and this guy right here. So if I turn the key, you see the light lighten up, and then that should return back down to the starter switch, and nothing's happening. But if I turn the PTO on, that's the on position. Now it's sending a signal down. So someone's got that totally screwed up. That's opposite what it should be doing. And that probably had a plug on the back of it, and then they took the wires out of the plug and tried to repair it and screwed it up. So that may have been what the death of this tractor was, is they were doing that. They kind of screwed that up. They weren't sure what was going on, and they just lost their orientation and then gave up on it and pushed it in the backyard. The other thing I did see too was what did I do with it? that was the fuse in the holder. That was fuse that was in the holder, and it looks all kinds of shady, bakey and whatnot. Replace that, obviously, and so that was still not the issue. So anyway, what I probably am going to do, I'm probably just going to make a new wire up to go right from here right to the ignition switch. When you hit it, it turns power onto the starter, because of all the gibberish that's here. If I find that this machine goes and it becomes something you sell to somebody with all the safeties hooked back up again, which I doubt, we'll chase that. But I have a feeling it's either going to get used for parts and being a good motor and all, or it's going to turn into a woods buggy. But that's for future synopsis. So anyway, so we're going to go right from the starter switch, this white lead that we're getting the power from, and we're going to run it right down to there, and we'll see if this solenoid now works. Alright, so that wire's now connected directly to the starter switch, that white wire coming down. And where's the key? Where am I? Here I am. Alright, so you hear the relay firing, but inside what happens is they get corroded over time. There it goes. You see how the light kind of jumped? Sometimes they'll self-clean themselves. You got to kind of, anybody who's had an old Ford knows the deal. Anyway, so I'm not going to screw with that one too much longer. I have another one on the tractor, parts tractor. We're going to go steal that, swap that guy out, and put a better one in there, and then I believe we'll be able to crank and run from the key. And the only other thing I got to check is that the signal turns on and off going to the coils, and that should be okay, but we'll see on that. That may or may not be an issue. Yeah, that rusty piece of crap is out of there. One of the legs, the screw wouldn't come off, so I just kind of rocked it back and forth, and it's only kind of jury rigged with one screw on there. But that's good enough. Yeah, we're not trying to restore the tractor, we're just trying to get it so that it does its thing. So that should be fine, and we're getting the click. Yeah. So the fuel's turning on and off on the carburetor too. I ran the two nuts back down on the carb from the air cleaner, just so it sucks it forward so we can run it without the air cleaner. So I think our next deal is to get fuel to it. So I may just dump some fuel in the tank and kind of have at her. What I might do is pop the fuel line off the carburetor. I'll crank it a little bit into a little thing just to kind of purge out what's in there, and run it until we get a little bit of clear fuel. That's probably, yes, that's what I'm going to go do. Yeah. So I put fuel in the tank. Yes, I took out the worm. And so I decided to, again, take it off after the fuel filter and pump that fuel through. And you can see what you see on the bottom right there, under the fuel, that's water. So that's kind of why I did that. I didn't want to push that water into the carburetor, because once it's in there, it's in there. It's not going to come out and get sucked up or whatever you think. Not in these little guys anyway. So we can go pop that fuel line back on there. And we'll let it go pump itself up with fuel. And we'll see if she fires over with the key. I got the coil still disconnected. I'm not sure if that circuit's working or not yet, but we'll see. Let's go take it off of full throttle. It's got a mechanical choke. And it's getting fuel. And some choke in the middle somewhere, maybe. Give it a little more throttle too. Shut off. Kind of those kills hooked up. So that fuel line's a piece of crap. So let me go get that replaced with another piece, and we'll keep it from being a ticking time bomb anyway. But the motor runs good. It seems like it's decent. and we're going to make sure it's running on both cylinders, and I'll put those 2 wires on. If it starts on with those wires on, then that circuit is working correctly. So it's only running on 1 cylinder. This cylinder is not doing anything. So I'm gonna go check and see if we have a spark on this side to begin with, and then worst case it's compression. So sometimes it might not be good, but we're not out of the woods yet. We're not buried yet. We're not something yet. Anyway, that side's dead. Let's go figure out why. Alright, so I figure it's either compression or spark. So I figure we're kind of set up to check both. There's a compression gauge and the plug's kind of hanging out of it. The other side's still connected, so it's probably going to start. No spark. And there's something there for compression, but not much. Come on, little, you bastard. It's going to fall soon. Yeah. That's it. I just want to double check that what we're dealing with is what we're dealing with. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. That's a dud. So that coil is probably been minced. Actually, let's pull the wire off of it. Make sure that's not a... So now there's no ground. Yeah. That coil's gone. So we're going to go pop that sucker off of there and see if my Ward will pay again with the coil. Focus. So I did not have the one that I wanted. This is the one that came off of it, and it's looking pretty rough too. You know, I have a feeling it's probably got an internal windings issue. I don't think it's that plug wire, because I've seen them with no wire on them, no insulation on them, and they still work. So I went shopping around the Horde. I tried finding stuff. Excuse me. And I thought I had something close, so I stuck it on there. But the bolt pattern leaves too much of an air gap away, so that is not going to function like we need it to. Plus I snap one of the screws off. It's still sticking out. I got to heat it up and get it out, but again, we're just trying to make sure it runs on both cylinders and we got a good engine. So I do have this lovely thing called a Bridgeport, so I'm going to try taking this guy back out of here and elongate the holes enough to where I can move it forward, probably. And it's looking about 3/16 or so, and see if a spark will come from this guy. If we get spark from it, we'll shove it in there and it'll fire up, and we'll worry about getting the right coil. Again, we're still in assessment part of the deal here. Well, it wasn't for lack of trying. I kind of egged them out, and I was kind of hoping that would work, but take my word for it. No spark on that guy. I got it, yeah, up against it as best I dare, but it's not going to work. So anyway, I got to go hunt down a better coil for this one that will fit the bill. But I do believe we have compression. The even if it shows low on the gauge, a lot of motors have a decompression valve built into them, so on small equipment it's a little hard to tell what you actually have for compression, and judging by the way the other side sounded, we should be okay. So I may or may not be ending this video right here. I may well make it a two-parter until we come back and we find some more parts for this. But we do know the engine does run. I'm 90% sure that it's a good motor, other than getting a coil for it and having to go button it back up. So it should be a survivor. Whether the tractor is or not, that's another story. That guy's a little on, you know, be a good woods buggy. And Brian has the same tractor that he got 2 years ago off of another friend that he's been using to cut his grass. His mower deck is shot, and the exact same thing. They are a garden tractor more than a riding lawnmower. And what it's nice about it is it essentially has a high and a low range. So it's got a 3-speed with a reverse, and then it's got, you know, a 3-speed with a reverse in a high and a low range. So as far as a buggy, we may try and turn both of these into what that is, and we can kind of use them for toys. And there's essentially no money in them really. I think he paid $100 or so for the other one or whatnot, and he cut his grass for 2 years. So who knows, we'll follow up on this one at some point. Again, thanks everybody for watching, commenting, subscribing, and again, cap 123 for this camera that all you guys get to watch the videos through. I appreciate it. Been having very good luck with these setups. So thanks, later.